Okay, great. So thank you for choosing to study with us. I know that you've got this course in mind, keeping in mind your, long-term career prospects. So, which is really great. And it's a good qualification that you've chosen, keeping in mind one of the main industries in the world. When we look at, education, we look at manufacturing, we look at, industries like construction. One of the main industries in the world is tourism and hospitality sector. So when we look at tourism and hospitality sector, this is an industry which employs over 200 million people directly or indirectly in different countries globally. And this is an industry which basically is a bellwether industry, as we call it, because this industry also helps a lot of other sectors to basically produce business, or in general most countries depend on it for the growth of their economy. So it's a very good qualification that you've chosen, and this qualification primarily would hopefully help you to create your job or get your next job, or basically make your career in the tourism and hospitality sector. There are lots of different types of roles that you can actually basically look at within this sector. And when you look at different types of roles, let me give you some example. So when you look at different types of roles within this particular sector, you are looking at working within hotels, within travel agencies, within any sort of food and restauranting business. You're looking at working within large companies which basically sell holidays or some sort of holiday packages. You're going to be looking at working within facilities which are providing services like gym, spa, or say for example recreational services. You're also going to be looking at working within hotels which are specific hotels, like destination hotels, things like, if I look at towards China, Macau is one of the regions wherein you have big casinos. So it is a place where people actually go for the purposes of recreation. So there are opportunities on that side. And obviously, when I look at extended opportunities, you can go into airlines, you can go into shipping, when we look at cruises, and you are also able to work within, large facilities, which basically are part and parcel of what is called banqueting. And these are all such opportunities that you're going to be looking at when you're looking at, studying this particular course. Now, in the discussion today, which will last about half an hour to 45 minutes, I would encourage you to ask me lots of questions so that these questions can help clarify, any doubts that you have or any queries that you have. And at the end of this session, you're very confident and you know everything in terms of how the course is going to be delivered, how you're going to complete the course, how the assessment process works, how the certification process works, and in terms of who are the key people that you're able to reach within the organization to be able to ask for any tutorials, doubts, or if you need any additional information regarding your course and your studies. So all this is something that we are going to be looking at covering today. Now, I am going to shift you over to our main system of the website. And this main system of the website typically would give you all the information that you're going to look at for the purposes of studying, this course with us. So just to reiterate, in terms of, our discussions today, I would expect you to ask me questions. And if you feel that there are things that you do not understand, or if I am going too fast, then you can definitely, stop me there and ask me questions, which will allow you to hopefully, allow me an opportunity, hopefully, to clarify those queries, and then we will move ahead. Now, two things which I want to very briefly look at is that because you're doing this course with us through distance learning, what I want to do is essentially look at requesting you to switch on your video for maybe a minute or so that we can actually record your video. And this will be used, sometimes when awarding bodies here, like OTHM, if they come in and do inspections, they would want to see who the learner is and how have you verified their, identity. So although we have your passport and your CV and, you filled a form, but essentially what I would also want you to do is just switch on briefly your video. So I'm able to see you and I can get you in terms of on the record. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so if you briefly switch on your video for a second or for about a few seconds, that would be okay.
So the switch my video.
Yes.
I don't know how to do that on this Zoom meeting.
Okay, so what you will see is on your Zoom bar, which is the menu bar at the bottom, there will be a control which will be microphone, and there will be a control which will look like a video. So if you click that, it will have a cross across it. So if you click that option of start video, then it will start your video for a couple of seconds. And then when we want to switch it off, we can click that button again, and that would stop the video.
Yes, I understand now, but the problem is my desktop don't have any camera.
All right, okay, that's fine. So in some of the other sessions that we will do, I would suggest that at some stage you have, a camera installed or have a camera available. And then what we'll do is basically look at that as an option to be able to, do it. Now, the other quick thing which I can do is, do you have your mobile phone?
Yes.
Okay. If you use the same code on your mobile phone and join through the phone for a minute, that would allow us to get a video, and I can then ask you to, I can then remove you and you can continue the session on desktop.
Okay, so
you're going to be looking at joining in a way this session 2 times. One continue through your desktop, and the other would be also parallelly joined from your mobile phone.
Sure. So it's on my pad. There's a camera.
Yeah,
so
iPad
I can
or
use my iPad.
your Galaxy. Yeah, that is fine. Absolutely okay. On your tablet, you can join from there.
Okay, so but because I'm in China, before I use Zoom, I have to switch my network connect.
Mm-hmm.
So please give me a second.
No worries. I understand there are restrictions in China on the network, and sometimes you have to come out of your VPN or your, I think your firewall, and then it allows you to connect.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So I log in the Zoom with my iPad. So I join the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So the meeting number would be.
And with that, 1 second. So the meeting ID is 896.
Okay.
4784.
84. Okay.
7631.
31. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, I know you've joined in.
So the camera.
That's great.
Okay,
I can see you. Good to see you. Thank you very much for doing this. I've got this now, so that's absolutely fine. You can log out of the mobile, not a problem. And we'll continue on our desktop. So that's absolutely fine. Now you can log out of your mobile and we'll continue on the desktop.
okay.
That's great. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. So let's start off with a bit of a demonstration, of the system, how you would access the system, the website, who are the key people, and let's take you through that particular process. Now, what I would suggest you to do is for the duration of the course that you are studying with us, I would expect you to go ahead and bookmark this website. There are two websites, obviously. One is the one that you bought the course from, which is Courses for You, which is this website. And then we also have this is the main company, which is UK Versity, from which you're actually doing the course. So in terms of certification, in terms of, go to market, we have different organizations in different places through which, customers can come in and buy courses and obviously study courses with us. Now, the main difference between Courses for You and UK Versity is in Courses for You, you're going to be self-studying the course. That means you're going to actually get the access to the course material, and then you're going to study on your own. But in UK Versity, obviously, sometimes you would have seen that when you bought the course, the price or the course fees here was slightly higher because of the fact that here we have the option wherein the learners actually learn and attend live sessions with us when we teach the courses. And these live sessions are then, allowing the learners to study with us while we teach and deliver the course in about 26 weeks or 6 months. So this difference in terms of self-study versus blended study, because you have access to live tutorials and live teaching, that would make the difference in terms of, the fees that you pay on the courses. But irrespective of the fact that you've bought a course and, you're studying with us, there is not going to be any difference for you. Simply because we don't, this is a bit of a differentiation we do, but this differentiation sometimes tends to be ignored because we are more conscious of the fact and more concerned that we would want you to be able to study the course comfortably. You should be able to complete this course and you should get all the support which allows you to successfully, study and then achieve your certification. So for the purposes of access and for the purposes of teaching and learning, you're going to be looking at this particular website, which is UK Versity. And what I would do is, for the time being that you're studying the course with us, say for the next 6 to 9 months, what I would suggest is if you bookmark this website on your side. So if you click the lock button and bring it to your bookmark bar, then what happens is that you can actually access this website at a click of a button. And when you access this website, it allows you to reach us in all ways possible. So if you want to, say, for example, WhatsApp us, you can actually WhatsApp us from here through the website, and it will take you to WhatsApp. If you want to send an email to us, which is admin, as you can see, I'll make it slightly bigger. So if you look at admin, you can email to us in the admissions mailbox. And if you want to go and access Moodle, you'll be able to access Moodle from here by clicking this shortcut button. And then if you want to ring us, you're also able to ring us on this number, which is like a 24 hours number, but there is a college switchboard as well. So if I scroll down, you're able to see that we have a college switchboard, and this is for normal working hours between 10 to 5:30 p.m. But if you have urgent message or, say, for example, some urgent requirement, you can WhatsApp or email on this 24/7 number that will be responded to at any given point in time, whether it's night, day, evening, morning, does not matter. Now, the website I also suggest is because it gives you all the shortcuts. You don't need to remember, the various websites that you're going to access. And one of the other things that you'll also be looking at from time to time is our YouTube channel. So when I click on the YouTube channel, just opening it on a different tab, click on Moodle, And as you would see from this website alone, you'd be able to go to and email us or reach us on phone, on WhatsApp, email, and then also go to all the other systems that are available that you will be accessing at any given point in time. Now, apart from this, you can also see some of the people right now in the team, but at some stage, this is me obviously, at some stage, there will be different people who will be getting in touch with you, and they would also be, looking at teaching and learning. Some of them are not on the website, but basically you'll be able to see the entire team who's doing the teaching and learning and will be involved, and obviously helping you to study this particular course. So there are people that you can go ahead and see. So some of the people which are based in the office and obviously are working out of Manchester, which is where we are based in the head office. These are all the people that you'll be able to see and meet apart from, the teaching team. So this particular team that you see on this page is operations team, which is the people who work in the back end of the office. And then on the home page, it's mostly people which are essentially either teaching as a main, job role, or they are essentially involved in teaching and delivery of various courses that we teach in accounting, business, computing, healthcare, travel and tourism, management. And in management, there are different types of courses: risk management, project management, you have HRM, you have strategic management. And we also teach teaching courses and, courses in law and courses primarily in logistics and supply chain management. So there are lots of different, people involved. And this is where you will be able to also see at least the team. You will get to meet some of them when they do tutorials with you, or when you get invites to attend meetings, and you are going to be able to see or meet them during the sessions. Now, the other channel or the platform which is going to be useful for you is going to be our YouTube platform. Now here, there are lots of videos that we have created, and lecture videos in particular, which are there. And if you click on the tourism and hospitality management playlist, you would see that there are over 155 videos, and these videos are for different units. You can access them from your Moodle as well. But sometimes if you want to look at delivery from a different lecturer, then or get a perspective on the videos from different people, then you are going to be able to look at some of these sessions which are related to the units that you're going to study in your course. The main platform that you're going to be looking at is Moodle. And here you have received the login. I will enroll you into the course, and with the enrollment into the course, you'll be able to see the full teaching and learning material, for which I will also talk you through and show you the detailed demo of how to access this material, what type of material is available, and then how it will be related to your study of the units that you're going to study with us in the course. Now, before I get into the Moodle, there are a couple of good videos that you can look at. One is, if you want to set up the Moodle and get access to the course material on your tablet or your phone, and when you're traveling or when you are out and about and you want to have access to it, you can actually set this up on your mobile phone, on Android / iPhone. Both the systems is possible. Now, in order to set it up, you would need 2-3 things at your end. These 2-3 things that you would need is, first is the URL of where the Moodle is installed. And that URL is, I'm going to show it to you on the screen. So this is a URL which is required to be known. And then after this, you would need your username and you would need your password. So when you key in your username and password, then it will allow you to log into the course, and you will get access to the full material of the course which is required, which will include things like the video recorded lectures, presentations, handouts, ebooks, assignment briefs. And this will be accessible on this screen, although it will be a small screen, which people normally use for study. So if I look at, you accessing this on the, mobile screen, maybe the screen will be this small, but at the end of the day, you will still have access because you have availability of the internet, and that would allow you to carry your course or travel with your course if you're going on holiday, or otherwise if you want to access it for checking something. Now the advantage for us is in this particular installation, this is optional, but if you install it on your side, the advantage for us is that we are able to push notifications to you through the calendar, through a text message from the Moodle, or maybe when the reminders come up, we are able to actually put in reminders for assignment submission, and notifications can be pushed in short. You can change these settings by looking at, obviously configuring it to your, availability and your desire. But generally speaking, because mobile devices have push notifications enabled, that would mean that it will allow us to essentially send some of these notifications to you through the app which is installed. Now, what is the app that you want to look at, and what is the app that you want to install? This app is called Moodle. This is the particular app, which is a free application that you can download from your Google Play Store or your iPhone store, and it is called Moodle with the M and a graduation hat. And this is a free application which is developed by the company Moodle itself. And once you download, it will allow you to, set up the Moodle, provided you have these three things available from a point of view of, knowing your login details. So you have the URL, you have the username, and you have the password. And once you save it on your device, then obviously, because this is your own device, you will be able to access Moodle at a click of a button and get access to the course. The other bit which I briefly want to show you on the system before I log in, if I go back to the home page, is that if you forget your password, or if you, for example, forget your username, then it is very simple for you to reset it. And this can be done by looking at this short video in terms of how to reset your Moodle password. So if I click on this, it will show you a video which will allow you to reset your password in 3 different ways. Sometimes you have to clear the cookies, sometimes you have to clear the cache, and sometimes you have to ask the system to be basically sending you a new username and a password to be able to access your system. And this is very simple because you can do it from here. All I have to do is click this option on the top, which is forget username and password. And here I write my email, my username that you've got. So your username is quite unique, which is your name. Or you don't need to write both, or you write your full email address here and click search. And this will send you a reset link instantly to your email. And that will allow you to log back into the system. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Great.
Now let's log into the system. So if you have to go back and navigate to the home page, just click on the logo on the top or this home button, and it'll take you back to the home page. Now for today's discussion and the demonstration, what I'm going to do is basically log in as the administrator so that I can show you the full system. So let me just log in as an administrator. And because I log in as an administrator, I see lots of different courses. It'll show me all the courses that UK Versity is running. And we are running over 150 different courses from Pearson, ATHE, OTHM, IFA, Ascentis, NCFE, and cash. So there are lots of courses. But on your side, what you're going to be able to see is, on your side, you're going to be able to see just the one course that you are enrolled in, which is the tourism and hospitality management. And this course is going to be visible to you 2 times. First time, it will be visible in the course overview. And then next time when you access the course, it will be available to you in the recently accessed courses. The reason why this happens is on the system, it will track your progress. That means how are you progressing in the course? So first time when you access, it starts the progress bar. But every time then you access the course, it'll show you how much of your course is in what percentage complete. Because I'm logged in as the administrator, it is showing me a sum total of all the progress across maybe all the 1,000, 1,200 learners which are using the system, as of now across all the courses. So if I get into your course, the course that you're taking, which is the level 4 diploma in tourism and hospitality management, and let me give you access to the course. So now if you refresh your machine or refresh your browser, you would be able to see the full course on your side.
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
So it's level 4 diploma in tourism and hospitality management.
Yeah.
I see.
So you should be able to see the full course now. And then I will show you one or two things very briefly in terms of how you're going to be able to see and understand how the layout of the content is on this side. So let me just quickly show you some of the bits that you need to look at. And that would mean that I can then give you a bit of a demo to say that this is where you would be looking at some of the things. So just repurposing some parts of it. Now, what we are going to look at is when you enter the course, there is two sections. This particular section that you see is the section that we're going to discuss today, which is basically the induction part of the course. It has some useful documents that we will go through, and these documents essentially will be utilizable throughout the course when you are actually studying with us and you study each of the units. Now, once this particular demonstration is done and the video is recorded, you will actually see the demonstration and the video link appearing here. I've just disconnected that link for now because that will be an older recording for somebody else. But once I have done your induction and you are enrolled into the course and we finish this session, you're going to put a copy of the link that you can watch the discussion that we are having today through this clicking of this particular link here. Now, in the second part of the Moodle that we look at, what you're going to see is you see a number of units which are laid out as table of contents. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there are 6 units in total that you will be seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 on the top. Now, you are studying the newer version of this course. So there are 2 units which have got discontinued, and there are 2 new units which have got added. So these units are visible, towards the bottom. Now, when you see them here, that does not mean that there is nothing inside it. So it is like a table of content. So when you click or hover your mouse over the headline, you would see that it highlights the headline. So if I click on any of them, you would then go into the course material for that particular unit. And in that particular unit, as you would see, there are bits and pieces which are available and they are organized in a particular fashion. So when I go into a particular course, when I go into a particular unit, what will happen is the unit name will be displayed on the top. This is all the teaching and learning material that you will be accessing. And then the navigation will move to the bottom. So if I want to go to the next unit, I click here at the bottom. And as you would see, I will then basically be looking at the material for that particular unit in terms of handouts, assignment brief, unit specification, books, presentations, and recorded lectures. If I want to go to another unit, I click the navigation at the bottom, and again, I would see the new unit or the new unit which is now coming into the course, and I go into again, and I will see the unit. Now, if I want to go back to the cover page, then I will use the breadcrumbs on the top, the menu on the top here, and I will click this shortcut, which is level 4 THM. And when I click on this, I will go back to the cover page of the course, which will allow me to access and see the full course together. Now, if I click on any particular unit, the way the material is organized in the unit is going to be exactly the same. How is the course material organized and what are the materials that you have for reading and teaching and learning? There are going to be 3 different types of documents. First document is primarily going to be a PDF. There are going to be lots of PDFs because these are documents which do not change. And these documents are awarding body documents or documents that we refer to for the purposes of teaching, things like books, unit specification, assignment briefs, and some presentations. The second type of documents are going to be documents which are called Microsoft documents, and they could be further 2 or 3 types. There could be presentations, sometimes we put, but we don't put presentations in the PPTX format. They are normally converted to PDF because it is easier to retain the formatting of the documents in PDF. You could have some Excel or spreadsheets, which are sometimes available as templates for you to refer. And then sometimes you would find, documents as what are called Word documents, because we want you to use them as templates. So this would be the second type. The third type is going to be web documents, which are going to be videos or recording links. And these are the 3 types that you would generally see available across all the units. So if I see the first one, it is called unit specification. This is a document which has been extracted from the course handbook, and I will show you that in a minute. The second document is going to be assignment brief. There are going to be some useful handouts which are being extracted from the book and they are labeled very nicely because they are going to be related to the learning outcomes that you're going to study in the course. Now, because you're on a desktop, and do you know what size of monitor do you have when you are looking on the desktop?
Hello?
What is the size of your monitor on your desktop?
On my desktop, I have PDF, Words.
That's
everything.
fine. But what is the monitor size that you have?
PDF.
No, that's fine. But what is your screen size? What is the size of your screen?
Let me check my size of my screen.
Your monitor, the monitor screen
Yes,
size.
I know.
Is it a 23
So
inch?
it's 1920 times 1080.
All right, okay. And what is the size of the monitor? Is it a 20 inch, 19 inch, 24
okay,
inch?
So it's 32.
22. Okay, that's great. So what I will do is, because I have a 49-inch monitor, right? I have the Samsung gaming monitor, which is a 49-inch. So if I share my screen with you, the full screen, you will see a very big screen.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the topics that we are going through. This is the course handbook, and this is the Moodle. So if I go back here, what I want to show you is how the units are laid out and the content is laid out. So the first document is what is called unit specification. So if I look at unit specification, this is coming from the course handbook, which tells us what we are going to teach you and what is the required material that you need to study to be able to complete this unit, which is services, marketing in tourism and hospitality. So this has what is called learning outcome and assessment criteria. So when we make the lectures and when we teach you learning outcomes. So for this particular unit, there are 4 learning outcomes, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you will find 4 recordings, 4 lectures here, and they will be essentially related to each of this learning outcomes. So if I click on learning outcome 1, presentation, it will talk about understand the principles of services in marketing, tourism, hospitality industry. So it covers this learning outcome and all these criteria in the presentation. So it will start with some theory, which will be generic theory, and then slowly and gradually we will be going into covering 1.1, 1.2, and it will be specific so that you are able to understand what you are actually studying in the unit. Is that okay? So one of the first things that you need to understand is, depending on the unit and the number of learning outcomes in that unit, you'll have that many presentations and that many video recorded lectures for that unit. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, the second thing that you would see here is unit specification, which is what we have put here from the course handbook. So this is the unit specification that tells us that we need to deliver this unit and cover these learning outcomes and these assessment criteria. The second part of the unit is going to be an assignment brief, which is what you are going to complete and submit as evidence after you have studied this unit. So the assignment brief consists of some tasks and these tasks will cover multiple assessment criteria. What are the assessment criteria? Assessment criteria are here. So it will cover multiple assessment criteria. If you see task 1, it talks about service marketing, just to give you an example, and it covers so many assessment criteria, but it will ask you to produce the evidence in the form of a presentation, which is some 20 slides, and it will ask you to have some speaker notes to explain those slides, and that would cover assessment criteria or learning outcome 1, learning outcome 2, and learning outcome 4. Task 2 is going to be an essay that you have to write for about 300 words, and that would be covering your learning outcome 3 and all the assessment criteria. Now, when you submit this as a PowerPoint presentation and as a Word document, we are going to mark and check your assignment, give you feedback to see if you're meeting the criteria, you're passing it. If not, then there'll be some comments that we will give you, and that commenting will essentially allow you to improve your work. And once you resubmit that, we are going to check it and pass it, then it will be internally verified, and then we will put it aside for the purposes of certification. So this document is called the assignment brief, which you will attempt towards the end of your study of the unit. For each unit, there is one assignment. There is no exam. So if your course has 6 units, you're going to have 6 assignments, and there will be a combination of either a PowerPoint presentation or a Word document, and they will need to be submitted for the purposes of assessment. Okay?
Okay.
Now, after the unit specification assignment brief, there are book extracts or important documents which will allow you to study some theory. They could be articles, journals, or research projects which are going to be useful for you to study a particular topic, and they are labeled meeting that particular topic. So if I look at 1.4, it covers the impact of social media on tourism. And that is, if you see here, it talks about impact of social media and tourism. Although this part we will cover in our learning outcome 1 presentation as well in detail, 1.4. But in order for you to understand this topic, a case study or an article will also be available, and that would allow you to understand this particular concept in a bit more detail using a case study or a relevant article. So if you see, we have covered how you would go about covering the task 1.4 here, but we have also elaborated that with a bit of a case study or an article which has been published, and that is going to give you additional knowledge about what the assessment criteria 1.4 is. And this will follow through in some of the key requirements for some of the assessment criteria. So in assessment criteria 2.1, you have to study the marketing mix. We know the 4 Ps. We know that it's been expanded to 7 Ps. And nowadays we study 9 Ps of marketing. So 9 Ps of marketing, we have given a document which is from American Marketing Association, and this covers this particular concept in a great amount of detail. And this would be additional to what you study in the presentation. Is that okay?
Yes.
And this bit would continue for some of the main, learning outcomes and criteria, so that you are able to understand and read this particular content, which is given here on the right-hand side, the last column. We would cover this relatively to make sure that you have enough coverage from a point of view of material. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
in addition to this, for all the units, we are also going to have ebooks, which will come here. Now, where are the ebooks going to be? These are going to be the ebooks that we are going to provide you. So for each unit, you would see ebooks which will appear under the assignment brief, and they would be at least 2 ebooks which are going to be available for each unit. So we have lots of ebooks. I don't think you need to worry about, ebooks or, books that you need for the purposes of, studying them for each of the units. And we will be able to provide these books to you, at a click of a button. So what I will do is, this bit is what I'm going to just to show you very briefly. Now, these ebooks are going to be available as PDFs. They are the traditional books that you normally would buy from the library or get from the library. So first book, which is the Kotler's book, and that is what I'm uploading here. They are normally quite big in size, like 50, 60 or 70 megabytes. They are going to be 300, 400 to 800, 900 pages long. And there will be certain chapters in the book, if you need to read for additional knowledge and to read in detail for examples or, for example, case studies, then these books are going to be useful for you to develop, more knowledge by reading into some of these chapters, which are directly going to be related to what you're studying in your unit, specifically related to the learning outcomes. Now, these are traditional books. When I mention traditional books, what I mean by that is they have lots of information. You might not have all the information required to be studied from your unit perspective, but some learners, if they want to look at detailed study apart from the slides, the handouts, and they want to develop their knowledge and be very thorough, then in that case, you would be looking at going through some of the contents in the books. When I say some of the contents, what I mean by that is some chapters which are directly related to the indicative content which is given in the unit. So, for example, if I click on this book now, as you would see, this is the book recommended by OTHM to be able to study this particular unit. Now, this is a general book on marketing communication. So what you would be looking at studying is maybe 2 or 3 chapters. One of the chapters is going to be the marketing mix in particular, and the other chapter is going to be tourism marketing, that you're going to be looking at in terms of how does the tourism industry promote itself through advertising, through promotions, and through marketing communication. So this book is an 800-page book, but there are probably, not all the chapters you need to study. You would be looking at going through chapter maybe 4 or chapter 9, which is specifically related to tourism and hospitality sector. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, for each of the units, you'll have separate books. It is not that we have one book for the unit. I will get all these books uploaded. So if you see here, we've got all the books available. But what we have done over the years is, because we have taught this course maybe 50, 60 times, and we teach this course once or twice a year, what we do is we have shortlisted the books which are more relevant to the indicative content which OTHM has chosen to be taught in this particular unit. Is that okay? So
Yeah.
although they have mentioned, books, but some of these books are totally irrelevant and some of the books may be more relevant. So what we will do is the books that you will see appearing in your units are going to be primarily the ones which are related and, going to be giving you additional reading for the indicative content given in the units. Now, towards the end, you would have, what we normally do is I'll move the assignment brief towards the end, because that is the last document that you are going to access once you have studied, say, for example, each of these presentations and some of the, main topics of it. So what you are going to see is they are going to be labeled out very nicely in terms of all the learning outcomes, and they will be useful handouts that we would expect you to study. And these handouts are going to be, essentially arranged as I'm doing it now, if you see, towards the, documents itself, and they would be read in a manner wherein you are actually going to, study them through the learning outcomes perspective. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, this kind of a layout that you see is going to be available throughout the unit. If I go into another unit right now, this particular layout will be following through in all the units that you're going to be able to see. So what I will do is, this is the first unit. And if I just move this down, so you have the unit specification as the first part. Then you have some case studies and some articles which are related to, the business environment and tourism sector. And for this particular unit, there are lots of these handouts that I've uploaded. There is a book which is recommended to study business environment, which is, if I go here, in the course handbook, you would see this unit as the second unit, business environment for tourism. And this is the recommended book that you need to look at studying. So we've got this book here, Ian Worthington's book, and this book will basically cover, again, this is a 500-page book. We don't need to go through the entire content of it, but we are going to recommend you to read some of the key frameworks and models, and they will come across from various sections of the book. After that, you will have presentations, you'll have handouts, and you will have, recorded lectures. So if I click on any of the presentation, you're going to see the presentation covers the learning outcome 2, which is know about private sector organizations. And as you can see here, then we talk about various types of organizations. And then once the theoretical part of the learning outcome is over, we go into detailing of each of the assessment criteria and cover some of these topics in greater detail so that you are able to understand that this is what we are covering in terms of coverage wise on the presentations. Is that okay?
Yes.
So this part is basically the demonstration and the access to the course material. Now you have access to the course material in any case. What you will see at some stages would be units which are hidden. That means they are not visible to you. So they will be shaded out like this. Now, this is the reason because in some of the cases, the units are going to be refreshed. That means they are being updated by IT. There will be changes done to the presentation, and they will not be visible to you maybe for a week or so. But after that, they would be visible. Like these are the 2 units which have been introduced. So these units I'm going to hide for now because they're going to upload the books, presentations, handouts in the next few days. And once it is ready, you would see that these units would start to appear and they'll be visible like this unit wherein you can see pretty much everything.
So, the unit 3 and unit 4 will show up later automatically.
Later, yes, will show off later, yes.
Okay.
So there is some part of rearrangement which IT is going to do to make sure that, the bits available to you are fully there, and you should not be constrained by the fact that this unit is not available or that unit is not available. But what they are going to do is ensure that everything that you want to study should be available at any given point in time as far as the system is concerned. Now, the reason sometimes you would see that also some units are hidden is because you are going to study one unit at a time. So at some stage, the idea is to not to confuse the learner and make sure that you have one unit which is open. You complete that unit, you study that unit, and then you go on to the next one. But we don't want to restrict you. I will discuss with you a study plan in terms of which unit you need to study first. So just rearrange the units so that the ones which are faded out are all gone back to the bottom, and the ones which are currently accessible, you should be able to see in the course. Right, so if I make this back now, so when you go into your Moodle and refresh your page now, you're going to see Unit 1, Unit 5, Unit 2, Unit 6, and these are the ones which are faded out, which will be available to you by end of this week, by Friday or by Saturday. Now, what I would suggest is this is the demonstration of the system. So what you're basically going to do is when you log into the system, we are going to go through some of the bits. You can start with any unit, but I am going to suggest you a plan which is going to give you a way forward to study these units in a way wherein you feel that they are easier for you to cover, because some units are theoretical, some units we are aware of in terms of journal topics because we watch the news, we read the newspapers, we are working, and we are able to see some of this in action. So some of the units are going to be having content which is going to be familiar to us, something that we use and go by on a day-to-day basis. Some of the units will require you to study and go through books, articles, journals to maybe gain knowledge. And those are the units that we are going to look at, maybe suggesting you to study towards the end. So cover the easier units first, cover the units in which you have the knowledge and you have some journal information, and that will give you the confidence to be able to cover the course and meet the course requirements. So I would suggest, in order for you to start, the first unit that you're going to look at, which will be available by end of play today, I would say you should look at, I will highlight this unit and I will also make this visible. This is the first unit which I will ask you to start, which is academic and research skills. And the reason I say this, that you need to start with this particular unit, is because this unit will help you build the foundations for how to write an assignment, how to do referencing for your work, how to research some of the material when you are actually studying a particular unit. And it'll give you the skills, or maybe help you refresh the skills which are required for you to actually study the course. So this is the first unit which I will ask you to start in your course, which is academic writing and research skills. So all the material for this unit would be made available before the end of play today. That means before we close today, all the material, everything would be available. And this is the first unit I would suggest that you start, because this is purely a skills-based unit. And this unit will help you to study some of the other units in the course as you go forward. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. Now, after you've completed the academic writing and the research unit, I would then take you on to the services marketing unit, which is something that we get to see every day because you've traveled and you've been to Canada, you've been to Liberia, you have some knowledge about the industry in general. I think service and marketing related things would be easier for you to study after that unit. So after this session, what you will see is that the course content is slightly reorganized in the way we would suggest you to go through some of these units. So it'll be academic writing, then you can go and study the services marketing unit. After the services marketing unit, what I would do is basically get you to study the business environment unit. After the business environment unit, I would ask you to study events management as a unit, and they will then develop your knowledge about the tourism and hospitality sector. And they are units that you can cover beautifully well in terms of not just building your knowledge, but also following a chronological order to be able to put things into perspective while studying the course. And the last unit that I would ask you to study is sustainability. Sustainability is the last unit because in today's times, the tourism sector is actually dealing very heavy with sustainability. Things like reusing water or preserving water, looking at reusing and reusing lots of material that they use within the hotel, the airline, and the tourism and hospitality sector, so that less of it goes to landfill. There is a lot of focus on conservation within the adventure tourism or destination tourism. That means if you go to mountains or if you go to places with wilderness, then the idea is that the tourists should be able to preserve wildlife and help the wildlife grow. There is sustainability requirements from a point of view of legislation, because tourism as an industry, when you go out, it creates a lot of waste. So a lot of legislation is being introduced in Western countries and in developing countries, even in China, wherein the government is focused on making sure that a lot of material which goes as waste into landfills is reduced. So sustainability has a lot of different reasons for different industries, but within the tourism and hospitality sector, it is going to be looking at greener tourism, green tourism. It is going to be looking at water conservation, conservation of environment. It will be looking at reducing waste, which is going to landfill. And in some cases, large hotel chains and large places of tourism or destinations are being encouraged to create or work on renewable sources of energy. So this is the last topic, which is a very good topic to study, because this is something if you look at the Paris Accord, if you look at the Glasgow Agreement in terms of, the climate change, these are factors that we are going to look at how the tourism industry is actually affecting, the environment, and where the focus is now on sustainability to create things within this sector. So it's a good unit to study towards the end, because it will encompass and ask you to put a lot of knowledge in from some of the other units that you're studying in this particular course. Now, this brings us to the end of maybe the overview of the course and also, the demonstration of the system. Are there any questions on this on your side?
So when I check any unit, after I study, I have to write down my assignment, right?
Yes.
But the problem is I didn't see any deadline of the assignment.
Right. So in terms of the timeline for the assignment, how do we look at the timelines? So that's a good question you've asked. Let me just come back to you on the, on the screen. So how does it work? Now, if you were studying in a university or a college, what will happen is you will be studying in a classroom-based setting, and you will have some lectures, and you will have a timeline or a timetable for summer, for winter, for spring, and for autumn, and you will study these units. You'll have to complete the assignments. Now, because
Yes.
you're studying the course through distance learning, so here there is flexibility in terms of how you're going to be submitting your assignment and when you're submitting the assignment. But as a guidance, as a general rule for study of the course, because you don't want to look at it as an open-ended course, you want to complete the course. What we are going to look at is, we are looking at aiming to complete the course in maximum 6 to 9 months. Okay, so if you look
all
at
the courses,
all the units, all the 6 units.
Okay.
So if I look at your course has 6 units, right? Each unit is 20 credits. So total becomes 120 credits, and this is equal to 1 year of your degree qualification. So level 4 is equal to first year of bachelor's degree.
Okay, so it's 1 academic year.
1 academic year, that's correct, yes. So if I show you, say, the framework, which is what we normally follow globally, and this is something which you would probably see that it is a part and parcel of, anywhere that you go in the world, in say, for example, studies. So let me just show you the full screen again. So if you see this framework, on this side, what you're going to see is you're studying level 4, which is like the first year of university qualification. Because in the UK and in the Western Hemisphere, there are 2 types of organizations that you can study with. One is that you study with university, which have degree awarding powers from the government. And the other is chartered bodies, which basically have only diploma awarding powers. But what the government does is it does not differentiate between a university and the chartered body. So OTHM is a chartered body. Their qualifications are also globally valid, but because they're a chartered body, they can only award a diploma. So in order to do away with discrimination, what the government says is, you study a degree, you study a diploma, you study an award or a certificate, they are all then put across onto a one system. And whether I come with a degree or I come with a diploma, and when I apply for a job, the employer cannot differentiate between and say, no, I only want candidates with a degree qualification to come to apply for this job. So in order to do away with that discrimination and to create an equal balance, what they do is they put degrees and diplomas onto a single framework. And this framework is called the Qualification and Credit Framework. This is applicable generally, globally across every country. And in Europe, in UK, it is called the QCF. In Europe, it is called EQCF, European Qualification and Curriculum Framework. In the US, it is also similar, but the name would be different. And again, in China and Asia, it will be this similar framework, but would be differing in name. Now, When you study level 4, it's actually equal to the first year of degree. When you study a level 5 diploma, it will be equal to a second year of degree. And if you study a level 6 diploma, it will be equal to the third year of your degree. And if you study level 4, 5, and 6 diplomas, that means you have a full degree qualification equivalent, and no country would be and not accepting that qualification because this is an internationally acceptable qualification from OTHM. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, let's look at your question, going back to your question in terms of how the assignments would work. So general rule is that the course has 6 units, 20 credits each for each unit. And that, as you can see here, they total up to 120 credits in total. That means 1 year of degree qualification. Now, I would recommend a duration of 1 academic year, which is 6 to 9 months, because in 3 months, you have winter holiday, Easter break, New Year, lots of other holidays, summer break. So actual study time in 1 academic year is up to 32 weeks, which is roughly 9 months. Now, if you look at each unit, and assuming any unit you look at, like if I look at academic skills and writing unit, they, as you can see, has 4 learning outcomes. So if you study 1 learning outcome, which is LO in short, per week, you should be looking at completing, 1 unit every 4 to 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand this?
Yes. So general, we can finish 1 unit by 1 month.
1 month. 1 month. 1 month generally, I would say, is because if you study 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours per week, that would help you cover 1 learning outcome in great detail. Because you will go through the presentation, which is roughly going to take you 35-40 minutes. You listen to the lecture recording, which will be about 35 to 40 minutes. And you then study maybe the relevant chapter or the handouts given for that particular learning outcome. So if I go here, just as an example, you start with services marketing example, you study learning outcome 1 presentation, you take 1 hour, then you go back and then you listen into the lecture. Now, if you listen to the lecture is an audio visual lecture. So you might not need to go through the presentation, because in the lecture, so for example, this is a lecture I have recorded, and this lecture is 1 hour and 8 minutes long, and I will cover this particular learning outcome in great detail with examples, with key frameworks, with theoretical concepts. I'm not going to be reading the slides from the presentation. I'm going to look at the slides, but I'm going to explain them by examples and relevant things which you need to understand. And if you listen into this lecture, go through the presentation, and then you read the handouts which are given, if there are any for this particular, like in this case, there's a handout like marketing mix, and you read this, you're spending 2 to 3 hours a week, and you'll be looking at covering 1 learning outcome comfortably every week. So if I follow this as a process, what will happen is I will complete 1 unit in about 4 weeks. And after that, I need to give myself 1 week to write the assignment, because writing the assignment will require you to reference your work, collect some material, research it, paraphrase it, and then write your assignment. So if I answer your question now, you should be looking at completing and submitting the assignment for 1 unit every 4 to 5 weeks. So if I follow this pattern, I would be looking at covering my course in about 24 to 32 weeks comfortably by achieving the certification. Is that okay?
Yes.
Right. Now, what will also happen is that in our case, there is a course coordinator. Her name is Miss Cheel. She will be basically communicating with you over the email, on WhatsApp, and on phone. And she will keep track of your progress, how you're, performing, how you're studying the course. And she can be reached on, coordinator at ukversity.co.uk or Jill at ukversity.co.uk. So when you send her an email and you send her an email to say that I've read this particular learning outcome, I'm reading this unit, but I have some queries, I have some doubts. Can you arrange for a tutorial with the relevant tutor? So what will then happen is she will ask you for a time and she will then send out a Zoom meeting invite to you and the tutor who's teaching that unit, and that tutor will do a tutorial with you like I'm doing right now. And that tutorial will look at covering and discussing your doubts, your queries, and we will take you through so that you're able to understand and move forward. Is that okay? Now, she is also the one which will send reminders to you on the unit and the submission of assignments. So she will send you some email every 3 to 4 weeks to say, how's your progress? How's your unit going? And are you on course to submit the assignment? So she will be your, like a virtual assistant who will be tracking your progress in the course and unit by unit. Is that okay?
Yes.
Does it answer your question?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, good stuff. So if I'm in your shoes and if I'm studying this course, I would plan to study, one unit every 4 to 6 weeks. Plan to study, and I would use the word complete. So 4 weeks I will study, 4 weeks I will keep for studying. And then 2 weeks I would keep, for writing my assignment and submitting it. Now, where do you submit your assignment? For feedback. So where do you submit your assignment? You submit your assignment to an email which is called learnerwork@ukversity.co.uk. Now here, when you submit the assignment, what will happen is if you're studying, say, Unit 2, that Unit 2 will go to Mr. Anjum. He's the tutor for services marketing. He will pick up your assignment and he will then mark your assignment. And I will show you how the marking of the assignment happens. And what will you get back as a feedback? I will show you that as well. So that you are clear that, what are you going to get back and how every time you submit an assignment, the assignment would be marked and then you would be getting this feedback, and that would allow you to also have a proof that this is the work which has been submitted. This is the feedback that I've got. And then this is how I would say I have completed and, passed this particular unit. So let me give you a feedback of a random assignment, which will give you some idea in terms of how feedback is essentially provided. Now, assuming you were studying this particular unit, which is, say, some risk management unit, just as an example, this is the assignment you have submitted, this Word document. I'll minimize this for a minute. So this is the document that you have submitted. And this document, what we've done is we put some feedback on the right to say whether you have met the criteria. So task 1.1, you have met it, then task 1.2, and so on and so forth. So there are some comments that we put depending on what the assignment is asking you to complete. And we check your work if you're meeting and providing enough evidence which is able to justify the achievement of this learning outcome / assessment criteria. Is that okay? Now, once this is marked, now assuming you send me evaluating vulnerability, now if I feel that this part is less, so as you can see in the commenting, it has been put that, you need to cover vulnerability in a bit more detail. So what will happen is we will tell you how to look at covering and discussing vulnerability. So here in this case, the lecturer has mentioned that you need to relate the vulnerabilities to technological or system failures. So here, if the learner is to then submit something to us, say, I'm just going to randomly copy a few bits just to show you. And if you add this proof now, which covers system and technological failures, and then you resubmit the assignment to learner work, what we are going to do is ask you to highlight the work which has been added to the existing task and highlight that in yellow, because it is going to be easier for us to spot. Excuse me, it will be easier for us to recognize that this bit has been added after the comment has been done by the lecturer. Now, when we know that now this proof is enough, this evidence is now helpful in completing this task, we'll put another comment here, and that comment would essentially say, now this task is achieved. The evidence submitted is sufficiently describing and covering the assessment criteria of continuity and break in continuity. And when I mention this, this will become a second, marking, and that would mean that you are convincingly now achieving the whole unit. Assuming if there is one instance or two instance, the feedback will be there for the full assignment. Now, once this assignment is achieved, what will then happen is you will also receive what is called a feedback sheet. And this feedback sheet will have your name, your registration number. It'll say why you've achieved this assignment, and it will be signed off then by the lecturer. And it'll also have a plagiarism scan that we do, which will confirm that this is your own work and this work does not have more than a 20% similarity, which is required as per the college policy. So this would mean that your work is 100% meeting the criteria. And this sheet, along with this document, would be available at your end as a proof that you can maintain that I've completed this unit, and then this unit would be put forward for certification when all the work is complete. So this is one of the units, but this is complete. Now you move to the next unit, then you do the third unit. And once you've completed all the units, at some stage, what will then happen is we have a visit from the awarding body. The external examiner comes, he checks the work. After checking the work, he then approves the certification. And when you get certification, you are going to get certification like this. It is going to be a two-part certification that you will receive. The first part is going to be the cover page of your award, which will say what diploma you have achieved. So in your case, it is going to be OTHM Level 4 Diploma in Tourism and Hospitality Management. And then the second page of the diploma is going to be your transcript, which will say what units you have completed, what are the credits, and what grades you have got. Now, this qualification is not graded. So when you achieve pass, that means you're achieving 100% marks, because qualifications by chartered bodies do not generally have grades. They have pass only. You will not fail because we will give you feedback to be able to improve your work and then resubmit it. There is no cost for resubmission. There is no adverse effect for resubmission. But the idea is that you should be able to correct your work and then submit so that it is convincingly meeting the criteria set by the awarding body, and we have no problems in certification. So this process of giving feedback can happen once, can happen 2 times, can happen 3 times. Technically, theoretically, it can happen 10 times. But it won't happen because when we give you feedback, the feedback is going to be detailed. It is going to tell you exactly what is required to be written, what is required to be corrected, and that should allow you to make the changes and submit and achieve the unit the second time. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Any questions on this?
So far, I think everything is good.
Good stuff. Now, in terms of if I go forward now, so for example, we have covered course overview in detail, assessment and feedback. I've shown you as a process. I've given you the demonstration of Moodle. Let's talk about some of the key people in the team and how they are going to be assisting you in your journey when you study the course. So that submission of assignments are going to be done to this email address. When you send an email to this email address, it's a monitored mailbox. So you get an acknowledgement receipt as well. So it cannot be a case wherein you submit an assignment and somebody says, no, we haven't received your assignment. No, that will never happen. So when you submit an email to this mailbox, you send a query, you have a question about your course, and you send an email, then you will get a response within 2 hours of sending an email. And if it is a query, that means a doubt, question, or query about, a unit or some presentation, whatever it is, you'll get a response in 2 hours. But when you submit an assignment for marking, the assignment feedback will be 3 to 5 working days. So if you submit today, like assignment for services marketing, today is the 19th of April, you will get feedback on that assignment from the tutor by maximum 24th of April. So assignment feedback could be 3 to 5 working days, but generally a query or a doubt or a question that you have, if you send related to teaching part of it, that means related to the unit and teaching, not administration, not operation, not Moodle, but teaching part of it, you will get a response within 2 hours on your email. Okay?
Okay.
Now, who are the key tutors in this course? Now, any of the tutors in this course that are going to be teaching you, they have more than 15 years of experience of working within, tourism management and hospitality sector. So when I look at who are the key tutors, one of the tutors is going to be Mr. Anjum Satar, and he teaches marketing and business environment. These are the specialist subjects he's been teaching for last 15 years. He has an MSc in marketing, he has an MA in marketing, and he has a bachelor's in accountancy and services marketing. So he's the qualified person to be able to teach this unit, and he's the fountain of knowledge because he's been teaching these units from level 4 to level 7 up to the master's level for the last 15 years. The second teacher that you are going to have is Mr. Zafar Iqbal. He is going to be teaching units which are going to be related to, let me just put this in perspective. So he is going to be teaching units which are going to be related to, 2 of your areas specifically. And this is going to be academic and research skills, which is the first unit that you're going to start, and that is where the material will be uploaded today. And the second unit that he's going to be teaching you in this case is development of tourism and hospitality sector. Now, the reason why he's going to be looking at these 2 units, because he has 29 years of experience in teaching in various universities, colleges. He has also been recently, he's recently come back from Saudi Arabia. He spent 7 years in total within Middle East, wherein he's worked with various companies who are looking at launching marketing and setting up activities related to tourism, wherein obviously these countries, as you know, are mostly deserts, but they have diversified into tourism. You look at UAE, Dubai, for example, Jeddah, you look at Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar. These countries are heavily now diversifying into tourism from oil and gas. And he spent 7 years in that sector, and he understands why they are doing it and how the development of tourism is happening in these countries. The third lecturer that you're going to have, which is going to be looking at delivering, the course, is going to be Mr. Sanjay Sinha. Now, he's a senior consultant in Ernst & Young. Have you heard about this company, Ernst & Young? E&Y?
No.
All right. E&Y is one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. So you have Accenture, you have PwC, you have Ernst & Young. So these are, some of the biggest companies in the world who provide services and, services related support in accountancy and a lot of other businesses and sectors to companies globally. So he's a senior consultant in Ernst & Young, and he has 15 years of experience. He will teach the units, which is event management and sustainability in tourism. Sustainability. Is that okay? So basically, you will have three tutors teaching two units, and the units they are going to be teaching is something which they are a total expert in. And now, reason why because he is currently working on projects. He's worked on projects in China, in the US, in Ohio, in Turkey, and in the Middle East, wherein they are working within developing what is called sustainability in tourism. So he's a senior IT and a project management consultant who's focused on the services and tourism industry, and he has traveled to many countries, including Malaysia, USA, Saudi Arabia, China. He's also traveled to India and in the UK, wherein he's worked on projects within sustainability in terms of how can tourism industry, develop sustainability, can become self-reliant in providing these services to the consumers. So essentially, you are going to be in very good hands as far as the tutors are concerned with regards to the study of the course. So if you have any questions, any queries, and you need to discuss, in some cases, these tutors would come in handy and they would do some tutorials with you or Zoom tutorials with you. Now, in addition to that, it will be sometimes me, if one of the tutors is not available, then I'll be stepping in. I have 24 plus years of experience, and I have worked within different companies in different setups, including Samsung, Fujitsu, Lenovo, and then looking at, teaching side, I've been teaching for the last 12 and a half years in the higher education sector in the UK, which is HEI, and I teach pretty much a lot of subjects. But in my case, I have lots of qualifications as well. I have a doctorate in education. I have an MBA and also an MSc in accounting and finance, an HND in IT, a postgraduate diploma in healthcare management, a postgraduate diploma in strategic management, a postgraduate diploma in accounting and finance. So I have lots of qualifications, because in teaching, you keep studying every year and you have to develop new skills and you have to remain current with your skills. So if there are bits and pieces which are currently, missing in terms of, things which, for example, are required, then I would be stepping in and then obviously, giving you some hands-on as far as the details on the units and the courses concerned. So I'm basically the courses director, at UK Versity, and I look after management of courses and obviously teaching and delivery of these courses with some of my colleagues who are in my team, including Anjum, Zafar, and Sanjay. Now, in terms of administration, when you need some urgent help, there are different people in administration. So you have a IT, if you have problems with Moodle, or if you do not have any access to, say, books or learning material, then you are going to go to one of my colleagues, which is Victor, and Victor can be reached on victor@ukversity.co.uk. And if you send an email to him, he would be able to respond back to you, call you, speak to you on the phone, and help you resolve any of the problems on IT side. Now, when we look at course coordination, you have Jill that you would be able to speak to, and she would be the one who would basically be the link pin between you and the tutors. So if you need any help from the tutor, if you need any help on the course material, if you need any help with regards to studies or tutorials, then if you write to her, she would be the one who would essentially be, scheduling sessions and obviously sending out emails. And in general, if you need to reach us, there are lots of people in administration. If you need to reach us, maybe you need to note down this number, which is the college switchboard. And this college switchboard number is operational during working hours, I would say 10 to 5:30 p.m. And they would be able to come back to you on your query. But there is a WhatsApp number as well. and that WhatsApp number, is on our website. So that WhatsApp number is basically this, and you should be able to WhatsApp / send us messages, and we will also be able to respond back to you pretty much on this, instantly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
In administration, I have 2-3 other colleagues who work for me. One is Harjinder, there is Aman, and then one last bit which I need to explain. So who handles your certification? When you complete your course, who will you get the communication from? Where will the certification come from? That will come from the registrar, and she is Amrita. And she would be the one who would be basically looking after your assessments, managing the coordination of assessments with various tutors. She will be the one which will put forward your certification with OTHM. And when you get certification from OTHM, what OTHM does is OTHM does not, send out what is called the actual print certificate. So what it does is basically sends out, a login to you, and the login, if I show you this for a minute, you will receive a login from OTHM. This is going to be a login for life from the awarding body. And this would allow you to check your certification, send a query to the employer if you want to look at for purposes of verification of your qualification. There are bits and pieces that this portal will allow you to manage. If you want to order a reprint, ask for a replacement, you will get an email once you have received your certification and a password that will allow you to keep this login with you forever. And that login would allow you to manage your certification, your records, and your courses, and see your progress that you are doing with the awarding organization. Is that okay? So
Yes.
this will be, because OTHM does not issue any certificate in print as an option, and this is being done to avoid forgery or essentially the purposes of ensuring that certifications cannot be duplicated or forged. So they have introduced this system, and this is a part of the government initiative which is called HEDD in the UK, Higher Education Digital Database. Now, this particular database is a government initiative which allows any individual, any organization, any employer in the world to basically do a verification on your qualification from anywhere in the world. And they can check whether this qualification is studied by you, is genuine, who is the awarding body, when it was issued, and they can request for a confirmation. So this is a part of a government initiative in the UK, and all universities, all awarding bodies have to now have and shift over to what is called electronic certification by 2025. So this is a very simple process. A lot of universities and institutions across the world have already started to do it. It is not just in the UK, but most UK awarding bodies or universities based here are required to have this implemented, and that is what OTHM has done. So they have introduced e-certification system. Verification can be done from the website, and you will get access to your login when your certification is done for the first time. And then when you decide to study again with OTHM, you will have the same login and your new certification will appear there. You'll be able to download it, and that certification has a holographic sticker and a confirmation from the awarding body which says that this is genuine and this is who the learner is and this is who has studied and taken this qualification. So she will manage it for you, but when you get an email from her that your certification is now ready, you will have an automatic email which has been sent out by OTHM, and you'll be able to download and see your certificate by logging into this portal. And you can download PDF copy of that for your personal use and reference. Is that okay?
Yes.
And then we have another colleague in the organization called Philip Hodgkinson. He is the one who's the quality manager. So he is going to be looking at managing your certification process, because he will finally check whether the assessors or the tutors are marking the assignment correctly. And if they marked it correctly, it is meeting the standard. And then he puts it forward to, Amrita, and she will then put it forward to OTHM for certification.
Okay.
Okay. So there are lots of people. You might not get in touch with all of them. You might see some of them. You might speak to some of them. You might communicate with some of them on the email, but they are all going to be working towards and ensuring that you are able to successfully complete and obviously achieve your certification.
Perfect.
Good stuff. Any other questions that you have?
No, so far everything is great.
Good stuff. So what I will do is I'm going to end the session here now, and I'm going to send you a copy of this recording, because I know that in the session we have discussed lots of things. There is lots of pieces of information, and if you need to go through this again, you have this copy with you, and you can revisit and go through some of the bits we have discussed. And by close of play today, 5:30, you will, before that time, you will receive an email, and what you're going to see on your side is your units will be fully ready on your system, including the first unit that you're looking at starting, which is academic and research skills.
Okay.
Is that okay? So a confirmation email will come to you from Jill, and you should be able to start your studies. Now, one small thing which I'd like to mention here is, because you bought the course from Reed and not directly from us, your registration with the awarding body is going to be done in the next 14 days. Right?
Okay.
The reason is because we get paid from them in about 14 days time. And once we get paid, what we are going to do is do your registration with OTHM. And I'm going to show you something. You are going to get an email from them directly, which will say that you have now started this course with the provider. And I will show you an example of, say, a registration which came yesterday, because obviously when we register them with the awarding body, it takes 2 or 3 days with them to be able to send out this confirmation email. So if you see, this is the person which was registered yesterday. As you can see, it's yesterday, and this is your registration number. So you would be allowed, you will have a login, you'll have everything coming from OTHM, which will allow you to log into the portal and see your confirmation of registration. But this email, as you can see, is sent from OTHM directly, and this allows you to get a confirmation that yes, you are now registered on the course. So this will happen in the next 2 weeks once we get paid from Reed, because of the way that the course and this commercial side of things work with them.
Okay.
Is that okay? So I hope I have given you all the information and explained things to you in transparency, which allows you to get confidence that you're studying with an organization which has been in the market for 10 years. So we've almost been here for 10 years now. We started in 2012. Over 6,500 students have completed qualifications with us. We are very well known in the market. We are one of the top 5 colleges in the UK. And one of the things that you need to also feel confident and great about is that we are a college which is accredited by the oldest body in the UK, which basically, accredits colleges. And we are one of the 39 private colleges in the UK, which is delivering, qualifications globally. So this is British Accreditation Council, and we are an accredited provider. So you're not chosen to study with anybody in the market, which is like, a distance learning provider or a short courses provider, or maybe a fly-by-night operator college. If you go into colleges here, you would see that we are one of the 39 private colleges in the UK, which is, accredited. And it is an accredited institution which gives you the confidence that you're studying with somebody which is reputed in the market, and not somebody, because we are inspected by them. And, we have to maintain certain standards, quality, and all those things allow us to ensure that we are different from, some of the other operators who are, claiming to be college or institutions, but actually are just, fly-by-night operators.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Good stuff. So thank you so much for joining the session. I know I said half an hour, but it's probably been a 1.5 hour. But I
Yeah,
want
it's
the
okay.
induction.
It's okay.
Yeah, I want the inductions to be detailed because it tells you about the organization, it gives you the confidence, and you know everything about the course, how it is going to run, who's the team, and you know that you are in very good hands to be able to study this particular course.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patient teaching. Thank you for your great suggestion.
Good stuff. And I will be in touch with you in the coming days. So take care, and we'll send you a copy of this recording in a couple of minutes as it's available. And then we'll be in touch over the email/phone.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. And bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.